Welcome to the Scoop World Order. A wonderful day at Wrigley Field. The Buckeyes triumphant over an overwhelmed Northwestern team. We're going to break that down. Nevadabuck hit all of its player props. I hope you guys are paying attention. Some of those were a little too easy, but I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys have had an enjoyable day, a great, easy game. With that being said, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. If you can do something huge for us, subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts. That'd be amazing as we're trying to grow this platform. But we'll get right into it with Nevada. Carnell scored, Quinshawn scored, all is right in the world. Like a little sleepy. They unlocked the money line early in the game. It went to minus 900 or 850 for Ohio State when they were down 7-0, which is like, I've never seen more free money except for last night in betting in my life. But your thoughts on this game? I thought this was there were ups and downs, but we took advantage of a special teams miscue and started the avalanche up pretty easily after that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought it was the perfect game for going into the Indiana game and the Michigan game. I thought Northwestern came out, had a really good game plan.
Yeah, I'm bringing him back in here, but yeah, I thought that Northwestern, they played hard. I mean, they've got 4 wins. They're not a 1-11 Northwestern team like normal. So I think that they've got a lot of ability, and I know they were hyped up for that game. But I think that when you look at what Ohio State was able to do, they were able to escape, not escape, but get out of there, get to Indiana, which again the announcers. You'd think that Indiana is the 2001 Miami Hurricanes or the 19 LSU Tigers, by how they talk about these guys. I think we're going to wax them next week. But Nevada, I'm going to bring you back in. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, no, I thought it was the perfect game for Ohio State heading into this stretch. I think Indiana presented some challenges. I thought they had a great game plan coming off a bye week. I thought they were doing everything perfectly there at the beginning. I mean, they played us down to 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, and you're sitting there going, "There's no way they're going to keep this game close, are they?" And then Ohio State kind of unloaded the clip. Um, but I like it when the team has to face a little bit of adversity. But today was the day where, I mean, Jack and JT barely played. I mean, the backups got a ton of reps. I mean, it'll be interesting to see snap counts tomorrow, but I guarantee you the backups played more than Jack and JT did. I think Sonny's continued to make his impact as a player out there on the field, which is fun to see. Um, Caleb Downs is Caleb Downs, best defensive player on our team, best safety we've had in a very, very long time. Um, Will Howard was great. I think we can put to rest the Will Howard can't throw the deep ball thing. He was throwing the deep ball all over. I actually thought the first deep ball to JJ was a completion, but what do I know? Replay overruled me again on that one. But yeah, he was great. It was just one of those games. I would have been happy with a 17-10 win. I don't care at this point in time. It doesn't matter. Just win. So anytime you can win 31-7, anytime you can shut a team out in the second half, I'm all about that. And yeah, I'm just glad we got out of it without any injuries. That's literally the best case scenario because whether we won this game 68-0 or whether we won this game 3-2, it didn't matter. All that mattered was injuries, and we got out of it without any injuries. We were able to avoid the bad thing happening, and on to Indiana. So I thought the game was played out perfectly for Ohio State. Enough adversity that the guys had to kind of get it going, and I like the fact that they had to stay on the gas a little bit and had a little bit of challenge. And all credit to Northwestern. I thought they did a nice job today doing things. And special shout out to CJ Hicks, man, because he talked that stuff after the game. And I'm always like, man, if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. Well, he walked it today. I think he had 2 sacks, at least 1.5. But kudos to him. Good for him. I love to see him find a role as a blitzer because I don't think we're a particularly good blitzing team. Even when we bring pressure, we tend to get clogged up there a little bit. It's not like it's like a land rush. When we're going through when we're bringing the pressure. But CJ's showing that he's slippery. Sonny was good in that regard as well. So Very, very happy with the result. And now we can really focus on the mighty Indiana Hoosiers, who may never lose a game again in the rest of college football. But they have a day of reckoning next Saturday in Columbus, so let's go get them.
Yeah, it's hilarious. You listen to the Indiana stuff, and they literally haven't played anybody, so it is crazy talk. I feel like I live in Crazyville, where the whole end of the game was about how great Indiana was and how they've dominated on their schedule, and they did the comparative thing where they beat Nebraska worse than we did, whatever. So yeah, I don't know, like that gets old. I hope these guys recognize the challenge of what lies ahead with Indiana. I'm sure they'll play their Super Bowl. It'll be the biggest game in the history of the program, but Ohio State has to deal with this kind of pressure every year. So these kids are already callous to being a top 5 team because that's what's expected here. Like Indiana, like they got to deal with a pressure that they've never known in the history of their program. So this is going to be real interesting this week, how they take this, the media stuff, whatever. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see how these guys manage this, because this is going to be a different animal. And I think that these guys will be ready to roll. Yeah, I was really happy Carnell got a touchdown. Obviously, he's from Chicago. His mom unfortunately passed away last year, so that was a great moment. I'm sure he had a ton of friends and family in the stands. Quinshawn was a bull. Special teams, again, it was more taking advantage of the stupidity of Northwestern snapping it over their heads, but it still counts. It's still part of the gig. So I don't know. I'm just excited about the direction of this team. I think that they've got some special momentum right now. Again, avoiding injury on the terrible field, it was one thing. I thought Northwestern, they're grabbing our guys' ankles a lot. Like they did it with Quinshawn, did it to JJ at the end of some plays, which I thought was cheap. And again, like they always get a pass on everything because they're an academic school and nothing that. But they had some guys that were total punks on the field today, which I thought was disappointing. But again, they get rid of Fitzgerald, and again they've kind of they're not as tough as they used to be, I don't think. But again, it was a game where it was a little early. It was 11 a.m. kick, and our guys were a little sleepy in the first quarter, and then they woke up and smothered them like we knew that they would. But we can bust a little bit of film out. Again, the play that changed everything, it was the punt. The high snap was something that made the game much more it broke their backs. I mean, that's the thing, is when you're dealing with a team that has a special teams error. In general in football, I don't know the exact percentage, but if you block a punt in football, it's something like 88%, or it's some crazy high number. If you block a punt, that's how often you win. I mean, Trust said that in a few of our meetings, and I couldn't believe it was that high, but I mean, I do believe it just because it is such an impactful play. So we'll get right into that first, because I thought this was the play of the day for me, because this everything's 7-0 and they're punting, and you want to end every drive in a kick, but this guy sails this over this poor punter's head, this long stepper. And again, this is part of the pressure of playing Ohio State, and we rush it, sails over the head. And again, if you're a punter, and again, this is Northwestern, an academic school, any special teams coach who's got any brain is going to tell you, just kick the ball out of the end zone and take the safety here. Kick it out of the end zone, take the safety, we'll kick it off, make them drive the field. Instead, this idiot picks it up and dodges Caden Curry, and then tries to punt it, and it goes up here and sideways, and it goes out on the 1 yard line. So instead of giving up a 2-point safety, you give up a 7-point touchdown. Because if you give Ohio State the ball on the 1 yard line with Quinshawn, we're going to score, and we're going to get the 7. So again, incredibly fortunate by Ohio State. Nevada, what was your reaction? Because again, that was kind of the spark that started the forest fire right there. Because after that, it was curtains for these guys. But what were your thoughts when you saw that play?
Well, slight correction, it was 7-7 at that time when that happened, but not 7-0. But it was a huge play. I think the stats are actually significant.
Yeah, it was a slight correction. We'll get him back in here. But yeah, when you do that, it's really something that's it's devastating, because all of a sudden you put your defense on the 1 yard line, and we trot out the T formation, which is this is a really cool little formation. I love that. This is practical. Like I don't think I've ever seen us run the T formation, since Woody Hayes. I don't know if Earl Bruce ran it, but this isn't something that we ever ran. And it's actually an interesting wrinkle with this is they actually, in the old days, you'd have him lead block on the edge. But here, I think that they're putting this on film so that teams prepare for this. They're leaking him out for the pass. So then you have Andy Gerd as your lead blocker. You down block here. You pull and kick with Carson, and then everybody else is basically just wedge blocking, because the backside, it doesn't really matter on this because it's going front side. He's on to him, but they kind of leak Trey out here, and he runs like a little banana route, like the old John Gruden route. And you hand it to Quinshon, and he picks a hole. Super simple. Again, Quinshon's got to meet this guy on the 1 foot line. So, again, you're wishing that you could get up to that backside guy, but really Quinshon's just got to run him over. Actually, you know what? I think what they're doing here is they're projecting him out in a route. He has to go with him. Someone has to cover him in man. So he goes out, and then you put the middle linebacker right there. So again, excellent play call. And again, eventually we're going to see the play action pass where we're going to see Will's going to fake this, spin, and then he's going to throw it to Trey on the banana. That's like the next logical progression, because there's no one covers him. So that's something that you put that on film, so Indiana has to study that. Nevada, you're saying about the punt block.
Yeah, huge play. I think you said 88%. I might even be higher than that. It's an incredibly significant stat when you're able to get one of those, and the fact that we got it out at the 1 yard line, that's incredible. So it was just good for, at that point in time, you knew that Northwestern's the 12 midnight had struck. They turned back into the pumpkin, and Cinderella lost her shoe, and they were going back to the ball. But I cannot tell you the feeling of relief that I have after this game, because when it was 0-0 into the first quarter, and Northwestern, we had one possession, we had driven it down, had the TD to JJ, and then they overruled it on replay again. You're thinking, man, this just couldn't happen. So I'm just so relieved, because now the rest of the day is going to be super awesome. We got it done, and we avoided injury, man. So, I love the stuff that we do on the goal line. We're really difficult to stop. I think I thought they were making, you could tell they were making a decided effort to kind of pad Will's stats today to try to get him, better numbers. That's why he was still in there, passing and doing things. His numbers were still really good. I think he was 67%, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, no picks. But not as good as it could have been had JJ, caught that one at the beginning or whatever. But, just a workmanlike effort. And I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that our guys aren't going to win the big awards, and Will Howard's not going to win the Heisman. And so something can certainly happen down the road, but it just doesn't seem like we're just, able to put up the 500-yard games or whatever it is. But I'm totally okay with that. I think the motto of the team, when Quinshon and Trey kind of got together and said, hey, we're just going to be a two-headed monster, and that kind of unselfishness, I think that's kind of where we're at. I think it's a very unselfish team. It's a team that's got a lot of mouths to feed, and it's, defensively gave up some stuff, but they've got an uncanny ability to kind of lock it down around the goal line, starting to dial up some of that pressure. And like I said, I really think this was the perfect game. I think this is a way better game heading into Indiana than if we'd have beaten Northwestern 70-0. I really, really believe. I think it was the perfect blend of competition, little bit of spice. I hope you have on Twitter, you have that guy twisting JJ's leg when he was on the ground after that big thing. Because I want to make that guy famous. That was a really, really dirty play.
It's terrible.
The Big Ten,
terrible.
The Big Ten's got to look into that, because that was not football, man. That was really, really bad. And Northwestern's been has been notorious for this stuff since from the days of Pat Fitzgerald. They've always done this stuff, and that's why Tressel took extra. He loved laying it on these guys, and. I thought they were bush league as ever today, and I'm just glad JJ came out of that without a serious injury.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Cheap shot, and they'll turn into the Big Ten, and the Big Ten won't do anything because they're toothless. Here's our RPO action. I love this. You fake the handoff, Quinshon, draw the attention of everybody. cleared out, in breaking route, nice and easy for Carnell. Gets him his touchdown. Again, this is the clear out. This is exactly what you want to do. JJ is Godzilla. He runs in here, takes care of everybody. Super easy completion for Will, and this is how you jot up to get Carnell his touchdown, almost untouched. It was a nice moment. Nevada, your player props all hit, so you were pretty on point. How happy were you to see Carnell get in the end zone?
Well, he got in the end zone in the first half. So I just needed today. Last night we gave you Jake Paul, and we said bet Jake Paul, bet the house on everything on Jake Paul. Some people question it, but we said that. Today I was put out there Quinshon Judkins anytime TD, Carnell Tate anytime TD, Carnell Tate over 44.5 yards receiving, and we got the Quinshon TD prop, we got the Carnell TD prop, and we had 44 yards by halftime. And so that touchdown there, that last catch, put him over. So all the props hit. I hope you guys are tailing that. I feel like we've got a really good handle on kind of the narratives the OSU's offense looking to write every week, and we hit them again. So hopefully you guys made some money.
Yeah, it's been a nice little run. All right, super chats. Let's get into them. They are starting to pile in. Pooh Beard 12. Thank you for the 10. Thanks for being awesome as well. Despite the vitriol about Northwestern's third and long conversions, this will happen occasionally when we ramp up the aggression on D. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the performance after the sleepy start. Yeah, I mean, I feel great about the performance. I think that we've got a lot to build on. This is obviously a tough game. This is a definition of a trap game. No one's excited to play Northwestern at any point in the season. Playing in Wrigley, it's early, and you've got Indiana and Michigan coming. So I mean, get out of there, get your 30 points up, do your thing as the best you can. I think that's just kind of where you have to go with a game like this, because this is a game that nobody was excited to play in. Everyone's excited just to get on the plane and get home and get on to Indiana, because this is a real one. I mean, Indiana's you're gonna have top 5 matchup. You're gonna have game day. You're gonna have a big noon. Everyone's gonna be in town for this one. This is the biggest game in Indiana's history, so you got to get ready for their intensity. So yeah. Nevada, your thoughts. Pooper 12 again, thanks for the 10. He says, despite the vitriol about Northwestern's 3 third and long conversions, this will happen occasionally when we ramp up the aggression on D. Overall, I'm pretty happy with their performance after the sleepy start. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the trade-off. If you're going to crank some of the pressure packages, you've got to live with some of the downside on the back end. And they made some nice pitches and catches, and I tip my hat to them. They have Division I scholarship athletes there as well. All points in a game and give up and shut them out in the second half. I mean, you got to keep it in perspective. It was an 11 a.m. start against an overmatched team. You've got the big one against Indiana. I mean, look at our next games: Indiana, Michigan, Oregon. If everything breaks right, so there's a lot to look forward to. And this game, they just wanted to get out of the way. So no, I don't think we played great defensively, but we did enough, and we held them to 7 points. Our standards are just so high at Ohio State that when we hold a team to 7 points and shut them out in the second half, and we're still saying it wasn't a great performance, it just shows you how good our OSU offense, or excuse me, OSU defense has been.
I think it's exceptionally high at this point. All right, Nevada, Will 8282, thanks for the deuce. What parts of Indiana are you worried about? You can go first, Nevada, because I don't know if there's anything you're worried about.
I mean, they're good, and they're a good team. They're a good team, and I have a lot of respect for any team that can be undefeated at this point in the season, and it's going to be a great matchup. So look, I'm worried about the whole thing. I'm worried about the middle, the beginning, the end, everything, and they're going to come out playing like they've got nothing to lose, because they've nobody expected them to be here, and that's how their coach is going to be selling it to them. Nobody expects you to be here. You've got no pressure. All the pressure's on Ohio State. Everybody expects you to lose, so let's go. Let it go. All hang out. Let's go for it on 4th down. Let's try to make a big special teams play, and But what I really hope is that the OSU crowd takes over the game next week and just says enough. We are not allowing Indiana to come in here and keep this competitive. That is what I'm hoping for. So if you're an OSU fan within the sound of my voice, that's what I'm hoping for. you can make a difference, and time to make your voices heard, and that time is next Saturday.
MT3 Brian, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. The run game is elite. I totally agree. Safe to say the coach Locke and Chip are great hires. Also bringing in Quinshawn and James Peoples are massive gets. Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, with Chip, what Chip does, then you have to throw Will Howard in there because Will running spices things up and makes things much more fun when you've got a quarterback who willingly is ready to go and run. But the line is buying into the scheme. They're blocking really well. Our running backs are as good as there's ever been in the history of the school. So I'm just super excited about it. Like this is going to be, we're going to need them for the stretch. That's the thing about the depth at running back is that these guys aren't going to be as beaten down as a guy like Ashton Jeanty, who's probably has as many carries as Trey and Quinshawn combined at this point in the season. So when you can divvy it out, it makes life a lot better. Nevada, MT Brian, again, next for the 5, says the running game is elite. It's safe to say that Coach Carlos Lachlan and Chip Kelly are great hires. Also, bringing in Quinshawn Judkins and James Peoples are massive. Gets your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And what a difference for Trey. I mean, Trey playing injury free. He looks fresh. He's so much explosion. And in years gone by, when he had ruptured tendons in his foot and plantar, and people were calling him soft, and I was on this weekly defense thing of Trey. It got tiring, but I never lost faith in the kid because he's a great kid. But having Quinshawn here, having Peoples as a third back is such a blessing. And Coach Locke is an absolute breath of fresh air, and really you can see how coaching matters, and having a competent running back coach as opposed to that bum Tony Alford really makes a big difference. And I love the running back room, and it's an NFL schedule this year, 16, 17 games, whatever it is. So you better have some depth, and we certainly have that in abundance.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch, and I'm going to enjoy these guys as long as they are here. Jason Kane, thank you for the 10. Will Howard for Heisman. Nevada, your thoughts? I hope we start campaigning for him a little bit.
Well, I think, and look, I think he should be there. I think he should be one of the five. I just think get him to New York. Get Will to Will deserves to be in New York. He's the best player on the best team in college football. Certainly the most valuable player on the best team in college football, and I think he should be there. I think if you look at his numbers, you look at the only thing he's lacking is massive passing yards, because our defense is so freaking good that we're not down 38-7 in games like Cam Ward is, so he gets to throw 50 times a game. That's the only difference. Will Howard, he's second in all of football in completion percentage, despite having a yards. I mean, look at his yards per attempt today over 10. I mean, he's the total back. So when people say, well, he's not throwing the ball down the field, he throws the ball down the field. His yards per attempt is higher than Dwayne Haskins, higher than Justin Fields, higher than C.J. Stroud. So I don't know where this thing goes. He doesn't put the ball down the field. He was throwing it down. He made some beautiful throws today. I mean, the throw down to G. Scott down the seam was an NFL throw. To Carnell down the right side. I thought the first one to JJ was perfect. He had some other ones down the field too, where he put the ball up there, gave his guys a chance to catch it. They just didn't come down with it. But he's a great player. Let's get him to New York.
Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said. Matthew Shelton, thanks for the 5. They laid that sod like a week ago and is already better than Ohio State's field. What are we doing? So embarrassing. Nobody slipped all game. Yeah, I mean, our field's atrocious, and this sod that's been down for a week stood up. I mean, it was firm, and the guys seemed like they gripped on it pretty good. So, I'm sure that the turf crew that did this, I'm sure, was as good as there probably is in the world, because they knew that if the turf was an issue at Wrigley Field, this would be the story of the day in college football, is if the chunks are flying everywhere and guys are slipping everywhere. So surface looked good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see Will Howard slipping and falling down on this stuff. Nevada, your thoughts on the turf today at Wrigley Field?
It's fantastic. A plus. And so and somehow Will Howard learned how to run and not fall down, and it was like a miracle. So I don't know what was different. Oh, he's not playing on the ice rink that is the Ohio Stadium turf. Now, hopefully they take out a third of the pebbles is what I was told. I was told 30% of the pebbles out of the Ohio Stadium field are gone, and we'll see if it makes a difference next week.
Big Pebble guy, Nevadabuck. Good job. Thanks for the 10. Appreciate you. No
Big
slipping
Pebble,
on the
Nevada
grass.
Pebble.
Big Nevada Pebble Buck. Get jawed. No slipping on the grass. Again, it's funny you have back-to-back super chats mentioning how the surface was so much better. I agree, man. It's sad that we can't get it done in the horseshoe. Sergio Sama, thank you for the 5. Do you think we kept the starters on offensive for too long? Yes. I thought it was weird still playing those guys in the 4th. Good win. Now let's smack Indiana. Yeah, I mean, Ryan is obsessed with padding stats. So, like, I looked up and there's, 7 minutes left in the game, and we still have Donnie Jackson in and Will. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, we're up 30, whatever the score was, and it's out of reach. There's, even if you hand them the ball, they can't score enough points to go ahead. Get the backups in, but we got them in for the very last drive, which is fine. But it's a pet peeve of mine. It always will be, especially with this super long season in the game that we have coming up. I would have gotten those guys out a little bit earlier. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I mean, I think if you're mounting a Heisman campaign for your quarterback, then you got to get him numbers. It's a numbers game, obviously, but I thought they left him. I thought they left him in one series too long. I wanted him out one series before they took him out. You certainly could make an argument for 2, but it was definitely too long. It is one of my. I had this not on topic, but before I forget this, I want to remember. I thought it was ridiculous that Ryan and I thought Ryan. All the credit in the world, Ryan Day, all the credit in the world. But why would you call timeout at the end of the first half when you've survived the first quarter of 0-0? You're up 21-7, and you only have 2 timeouts, so you can't stop the clock enough to get the ball back at the end of the first half. Why would you call timeout? And he did it not once; he did it twice.
I don't know. Not very smart. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, why? Why?
I I I was perplexed like you were, and of course I was thinking it, and then immediately you text me, and I'm just like, yeah, it's confusing. But yeah, that was probably
I
one
mean,
of the
I
biggest.
understand. I mean, if you have 3 timeouts, I understand. Timeout, timeout, timeout. Get the punt and get the ball. But at that point, man, I just didn't want Northwestern to complete a pass or do something and get down the field. And I was very happy with 21-7 and getting the ball back to start the third quarter. But I digress.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes I think it's better just to take to the locker room or the bullpen or wherever they were today. But yeah, that just makes too much sense, Nevada. All right, Dave Mathis, thanks for the deuce. Why show a potential wide receiver running back pass versus Northwestern? Well, the reason why you do that is because you put all kinds of weird stuff on film so that teams have to rep against it. They have to rehearse against it. They got to work against it. And we'll probably have some sort of a different wrinkle next time we run it. So that's why you do it. You run all kinds of wing ding stuff versus a team that you're going to throttle once you get up by enough. Run all kinds of stuff, get it on film, make teams prepare for it. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Why would you show a potential wide receiver / running back pass versus Northwestern? Nevada, why would you show a potential wide receiver running back pass versus Northwestern? All right, we're gonna go to the next one. He's calling back in. Apologize about that. Um, MT Bryant again. Thank you for the 5. Uh, 1 second. I'm so happy for Carnell Tate. He's obviously a great kid. It seems like most of these players are high character kids. I really like this team. Carnell's one of the greatest kids you could ever meet. He's a fantastic kid. Went through an unspeakable tragedy last year when he was literally just a few months away from being a member of the his high school. I mean, he graduates early, comes here, and his mom sadly is murdered. I mean, there's no other way to put it, and heartbreaking. Funerals in Chicago. It was brutal, terrible. And he's playing there a year later and was able to get a touchdown. I'm sure that was a very, you know, sad moment because I'm sure he's wishing that his mom was in the stands at Wrigley. But it's kind of how life is sometimes. But he's one of the nicest kids you could ever meet. He's super easy to root for. Just a great kid. Just a great kid. I mean, there aren't many kids in the history of the program that are better kids than Cornell Tate. So I was really happy he scored today. Nevada, your thoughts? I'm so happy for Cornell Tate. He's obviously a great kid. It seems like most of these kids are high character kids. I really like this team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think that's been another reason to like Ryan Day. And Ryan Day has really recruited. These are all Ryan Day's recruits. Um, he's recruited kids of high academic standing, of good character, good teammates, and he really preaches that. So I think teams take on the characteristics and demeanor of their coach, and that's really a tribute to Ryan Day because it is a group of high character kids, a group of kids that are really really easy to root for, and Carnell is one of the best.
Yeah, get Jod. Thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my friend. Davison has 9 penalties, which is second highest among cornerbacks, but it's okay since he continues to make big plays. Yeah, he gets handsy. I mean, that's his. That's going to be the first thing people are going to talk about when if he declares for the NFL draft, which is a good shot he's going to, is that he gets handsy. He's a guy that, he likes to clutch and grab. And I mean, in the NFL, man, they call it even tighter than they do in college. So it's going to be an issue because he's physically gifted and he's tall, he's lanky, he's aggressive, talkative. Like he brings a lot of energy to the defense. Like I love how he plays, but I mean, those penalties in college, it's one thing, it's a 15-yarder. In the NFL, it's a spot foul. So if you commit a pass interference and it's 50 yards down the field, it's a 50-yard penalty. So those are killers in the NFL. So he's got to get that cleaned up. Like there's no excuse for being the second most penalized cornerback in the country. And I'm sure that it drives Tim Walton nuts, but that's just something he's got to work on. I mean, it's gonna hurt his draft stock. I'm just telling you, he's got to figure out a way to keep his hands where they need to be, not clutch and grab, or at least not get caught when he clutch and grab. Nevada, Davison has 9 penalties, which is second highest among cornerbacks, but it's okay because he continues to make big plays. Your thoughts on Davison Igbinosun?
Yeah, he giveth and he taketh away. And I mean, the problem for him right now, for us, is that he's got a reputation for being handsy, and everybody knows it, and every opposing team knows it, and every referee knows it. And when you get a reputation like that, man, the flags come out, and we saw that again today. So it's every time he does it, they're going to be screaming, and that back judge is going to pull out that flag and throw it. So coaching moment, OG Walt's got to figure this one out because down the stretch, these games from here on out, there's no more gimmies. From here on out, it's just top 5 teams. Your rivals or playoffs. So there's no more freebies from here on out. He's got to those plays can really break your back, and Davison's going to have to get away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal Romano, thank you for being an ultra member. Thank you for the 100. Can you tell my Buckeye superfan husband RJ happy birthday? Of course, happy birthday, RJ. I hope that you're having a great day. Nice, easy win, nice and easy on the heart. A game against Northwestern is always kind of nice because you don't have to be geeking out on your birthday because it's a stressful game. So that's a good start, and hopefully you guys can go out and have some fun out and about tonight. This is the only thing he listens to on the daily, and you have better luck of him listening to you than I do. Well, that's cool. I love that. I appreciate it. Again, I hope that you guys enjoy the show. We try to make this thing family friendly. My wife's a moderator on the show, so I totally get that. But yeah, I'm very happy for RJ. Happy birthday, RJ. Hope you're having a great day. It's nice to get the win out of the way. Now you can just relax for the rest of the evening and have a nice birthday. So I hope you have a great birthday, my man. Nevada, would you like to wish Crystal's husband RJ a happy birthday?
Happy birthday, and RJ, you're lucky, man, that you've got a wife that cares about you and knows the way to your heart, and comes to you through the Buckeye Scoop. But thank you guys so much for being part of the Scoop family, and thank you for paying it forward. You guys are the best, and I hope you have happy birthday. It was a great present today. Ohio State dominating Northwestern.
It's really it's a nice it's nice to get the win done, and then you just start thinking about Indiana. Like I said, I'm glad this is a noon game. Get these guys off the docket. These trap games are tough. Again, when we in 2006 we played Illinois out at Illinois. We didn't play well. It was like 17-10. It was terrible. We played terrible. And then we played Northwestern and we waxed them because we knew we had Michigan coming like 2 weeks out, and we didn't play great. We didn't play good against Illinois that year, but we knew they had the 1-2 game coming. So it can take your focus away. But now these guys are onto a real one, and I'm sure these guys are going to be geeked up. They only got 2 shots left in the horseshoe, so time to go. Brutus B. Buckeye, thanks for being an Ultra member. Thank you for the 5. Let's go ahead and talk about the turf at the game 2. We need to start a GoFundMe for new turf at the shoe, Nevada OH. It's so depressing that we don't have a good surface at the shoe. It really is. Because like I said, my senior year was the first year that we had field turf, and it was good. Like, I mean, I didn't slip at all. It felt great. It was very consistent. Like, you know, people always argue, like, do you like grass or turf? Like, I don't really care. I like turf because it's consistent if it's good. Now, the stuff that we have is atrocious, but I played on the surface in 07 and it felt great. Like, it was very grippy and tight. And, you know, I don't like big, high grass. Like, it was low cut grass. That's great. Like, when I played for the 49ers, they had the most beautiful manicured fields ever. So those were awesome to practice on. In the NFL, you exclusively practice on grass. You don't practice on turf ever. Unless you're playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Then you do practice on turf because you practice inside your stadium. But otherwise, you're on grass. Just because, you know, why would you risk it with the players? Because the turf, the one thing I'll say about turf is it's very hard on your body. Your knees will hurt worse, your ankles, because it's much firmer than grass. It doesn't give. When guys fall and hit the deck, when they dive for a ball, it doesn't hurt, but you're noticeably more sore after you practice on turf. That's like the downside, but the upside is that if it's good turf, it's always consistent and you get good grip, and frankly, you're faster on it. Like, I was always faster running on it just because you could really dig into the turf. Like, especially we do our conditioning runs in the summer and they were brutal. But the turf, it was always easier to run them on turf. Even though the turf was hotter, you just get more grip, especially when you get turns. So Nevada, again, Brutus B. Buckeye, thanks for the 5. He says, I was going to talk about the turf at the game 2. We need to start a GoFundMe for new turf at the shoe. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Just less pebbles. Get rid of the pebbles. It'll be like new turf. So hopefully it's a fast track next week. Pebble Buck has spoken. I'm telling you, less pebbles.
We're gonna find out if they're slipping. If Will Howard is out there slipping all over the place and missing on deep balls and slipping and missing on deep balls and slipping and missing on deep balls. Because I'm literally gonna get a number 18 jersey and it's gonna say Willie Deep Ball because everyone loves talking about Will Howard's deep ball. Or Slippery Willie, because he slipped one time on the turf, and people are like, he's slipping on that turf a lot now.
He doesn't know how to run.
He falls down on the turf all the time. That's what he does. He's like an old man. He's gonna fight Jake Paul next. He's an old man running around out there.
Let's go.
T-Dub, thanks for the deuce. I needed the game to go over 43.5 on FanDuel. Oof, that stings. And when you talk to Nevada and I, there aren't 2 guys maybe on this earth that know more about bad beats and gambling than we do. So we apologize, and that does suck. We've been stung by many Uruguayan strikers in our lives before, and it is not fun. No. And I've lived it, and Nevada's lived it. And the thing that you learn about that is that scared money does not make money. So keep on. Yeah, if you feel it in your scouting and in your development of your trends and what you like to bet on, stay at it, baby. You know, and also tail the stuff that we tired of. Like, I mean, like when we were pleading with people last night to bet Jake Paul, and again, we have people on our message board, they're nice people. Oh, Mike Tyson, ooh, Iron Mike. I was
chin of granite.
Someone wrote that chin of granite. I'm like, he lost 3 of his last 4 fights 20 years ago, and he fought, versus Roy Jones Jr. in that exhibition. Looked terrible. And that was 5 years. That was another 5 years tacked onto his age. And he parties and he smokes weed all day. And you think he's going to beat Jake Paul, who's 27 and is injected with every growth hormone and testosterone and trains all day and has been training for 6 years? Come on, guys. Easy money. Free money. Nevada, your thoughts of the game? T-Dub, appreciate you, man. You needed the game to go over 43.5. Your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of definitely an under kind of game the whole way, so I'm not sure you really deserved that. I mean, we got to be honest. Like sometimes you deserve to win, and sometimes you don't. The fact that it was 0-0 into the first quarter, you might have gotten a cover, but it probably wasn't going to go that way. But I feel bad for you. But here's what I'm going to do for you, because you lost that. I'm going to direct you to some winners. Go to Dagestan Poppy, Dagestan Papi, on his Twitter, and he'll be posting some picks tonight for UFC 309. And he's got three massive plays, and I really believe they're going to be three. I think it's going to be three winners. So go to Dagestan Pop. It doesn't cost you a dime. Which is why he's literally going to post his picks for free, probably the hour before the thing. So it should be coming up here pretty soon. You don't have to pay anything. You get his picks for free, and you're going to get back on the winning side, make up for Ohio State letting you down on the over/under. So that is our gift, our parting gift to you from Buckeye Scoop.
See, we mean well. We really do.
We
Dagestan
do.
Papi has been on fire. He was hammering the Jake Paul thing. I believed in it. I mean, it was.
No, hold on. I got to tell you guys. I got to tell you this. He had last night, and I showed this to Kirk, so Kirk can verify that this is true. How many parlays did he have parlayed to Jake Paul? I mean, he had 16 leg parlays that paid like he bet like $100 and it paid like 6,000 or something like that. I mean, multiple 16 leg parlays last night parlayed to Jake Paul. He crushed the Jake Paul fight every possible way that you could crush the Jake Paul fight. So he thought that thing should have been handicapped at like minus 3,000. But he's going tonight. He's got three really good picks coming out tonight. You can get them for free at Dagestan Poppy at Twitter. So don't miss out. But he's handing out free money. You ever hit a 16 leg parlay before?
I've never even attempted one. I couldn't even hit a 6-1 yesterday. So 16 legs is like, I mean, if it's like Ohio State versus Akron, Ohio State versus Western Michigan, like Ohio State to score
it's hard
a touchdown.
to even find. It's hard to find 16 things that are sure things like that.
I mean, yeah, that's impressive.
Ohio State fans to complain about Will Howard's deep ball.
Oh God, yes. Trey Henderson being soft. Will Howard's deep ball. Chip Kelly
Will
sucks.
Howard can't run.
Jim Knowles sucks.
Okay, that'd be we've got a 4-leg parlay there.
Fire the offensive line coach, the whole 9 yards. Like that would be the whole shebang.
Yes,
well, Nevada, I think we can wrap this thing. We got a lot of good games going on right now, and I think we got our super chats done. Any final thoughts, Nevada?
Enjoy the win. This is the last stress-free win, even though it was a little bit stressful, but they all count now, man. And if you're going to the game next Saturday, crank it up. Crank it up. It's time. It's time for the Ohio State fans to take over the stadium. These last two games send this team off right. But we need a loud, crazy, raucous environment.
And sit on your hands as long as possible, please.
And yell at people for standing.
Yell at people for standing. That's the best one ever. Appreciate you guys joining us again. Another great show. Happy Saturday. A lot of good stuff. John Jones fights Stipe tonight. Huge fight. Check out Dagestan Poppy on Twitter. Give him some love. He is our guy. He's a razor sharp handicapper. If you guys like to bet and make money, he is your dude. Look him up. Dagestan Poppy on X. It's great thing to tell going into the night. With that being said, if you guys enjoy this content, please give us a like. Click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys and all that you guys do. You guys are the absolute best. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. We'll have a full film breakdown tomorrow night. Go Bucks.